Straight Talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Ooh, Simply Straight Talk.
From Redford, allegedly behind a murder-for-hire plot involving
Oh, snap! This is crazy. So crazy. Melissa, come in here.
I'm making a smoothie. What do you need?
I need you to smoothie yourself in here in front of this TV.
What are you in here yapping and yelling about?
Shh, shh. Just listen. Just listen.
Boy, you don't call me into a room and shush me when I walk
did
in.
Not even care if her children were in the
wanted
way.
you to
She
hear-
wanted her
Hush.
estranged
I can't hear.
husband killed.
That's right.
She
Middletown
gonna
police
hush
say
me
that
after
three
I
people are
shushed
charged
her.
now in a murder-for-hire plot that they learned about after the so-called
That's
hitman
Lauren from
came
up the
forward.
street. She tried to have her husband killed. Move over so I can see what they talking about.
That's why I called you. Can you believe this?
I don't know what to believe. Whenever we talk, she seems so happy and pleasant. But I guess there were things going on between them that she never discussed.
I guess you're right. But a few weeks ago, we all played pool, remember? They seemed really chilled and cracking jokes.
Ooh, you know what? When they were cracking jokes on each other, it felt like they were taking subtle shots at each other. Angelique and I was talking about that because it was sort of awkward at times.
Dang, how did I miss that?
I can answer that. You were busy getting your butt beat by me on the pool table. 8-ball corner pocket. Did you even take a shot?
Here we go. With the jokes. Anyway, life has taught me that love can make people step out of character, and that's when it gets dangerous.
People don't realize that when you play with a person's heart, you make that person more confident and empowered, or you can turn them into a soulless monster.
Exactly. It's sad, but sometimes people really don't understand the power of emotions.
That's true. I need to call Angelique and see if she heard about this.
Well, since you're about to make a phone call, I could really use a fruit-flavored smoothie right about now.
Well, I could cut up some fresh pineapple slices with strawberries, 2 bananas, and just a hint of mint with crushed ice. How does that sound?
Yes, see, now that's what I'm talking about.
I know, right?
So, are you going to make the smoothie now?
I did. That's what I made before you called me in here.
All right, so you didn't think to bring me one or even offer to share?
Well, did you think to ask before you shushed me?
You know what? That's wrong. That's wrong. I told you a hater. That's wrong.
No, what's wrong is your pool stick game. Welcome to the Simply Straight Talk Show, a podcast about real life with real talk. Each week, we deliver the best hard-hitting conversations on topics that affect you and me every day on this journey called life. Now, here's your host, Reggie Maddox.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back. As you are aware, we are in season 8. That's right, 8 seasons we have been on the air. Thank you, everybody, for your support and tuning in each Friday to listen to the Simply Straight Talk Show. Now, today, we want to talk about love. Can it make you powerful or deadly? Now, I think this is a very interesting topic because when you're in a relationship, you know, it can either go two ways. It can go good or it can go bad. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got a relationship that's in between, there's a lot of emotions wrapped up in there because that means that, you know, you kind of like some days I'm with the relationship. Other days I want out of this relationship. So we want to talk about love can make you powerful or it can make you deadly. And we want to talk about how. How can love make you powerful? How can love make you deadly? But we also want to talk about what are some solutions? What are some ideas, some things we can do to kind of monitor ourselves and also kind of remain conscious of the person that we're with in a relationship? So first, let's just ask ourselves this question. What happens when a person meets the right person and they feel motivated by love? What is it at that point in love that really lifts you up? Now, for me, it's like you feel motivated, you feel empowered, you feel supported, you feel fulfilled. And if it's really good and you really got that good person, it gives you a new outlook on life, a new positive outlook on life, because you're seeing life now as I have somebody who's with me. They're not working against me. We're not competing against each other. You know, it's not about who makes the most money, but how we build our home, how we raise our family, you know, how I'm treated. You know, I feel respected. I feel loved. You know, this person wants me and I know that. You know, I'm giving them love and they're giving me love back. That's what we want. That is how it should be. And some people say, well, that's a dream. I don't think it's a dream. I just think it's a matter of finding that right person and the right connection. But that could be a whole nother topic. So y'all know me, I get off on a rant on that. But that's just to start off. You know, when you find the right person and you feel motivated by love. Now we want to talk about the other side of that. You know, what happens when a person finds love, but it turns into a broken heart? What happens when that person who you thought was Mr. Right, Mrs. Right, and she turns out to be the wrong thing? In the words of Heavy D, what happens when the right thing turns out to be the wrong thing? You know, then you're getting into confusion. You know, I thought it was going to be a good relationship. What happened? Why did she cheat? Why did he cheat? Why did she take advantage of me? Why did he do this? Why did she do that? You start asking yourselves a lot of questions, and oftentimes you'll find yourself really questioning yourself. You're questioning who you are. How did this happen? Why didn't I see it happen? And you kind of begin to doubt yourself, and you go through these series of thoughts to where you're blaming them, you're blaming yourself, then you kind of denying the whole situation, and then you fall right back into that cycle again. But other things can be that, you know, you feel betrayed. You know, a broken heart can lead you to feel betrayed or used. So many times I've heard a man say that he invested in a woman. You know, he wanted her to go after her dreams. Women have done the same thing. They've invested in the guy, wanted him to have that business, wanted him to go back to school. And when that person invests in somebody else, and when they get it, either they leave or, you know, they get in there, whatever situation, they meet somebody else and they totally disregarded the person who supported them and helped them. These are all the things that lead to a broken heart. And I think this, I'm going to have to do another show on this because this is really a good topic. What happens when you don't get closure in life, especially in relationships? When you don't get closure as to why somebody cheated, why somebody broke up with you, why somebody left you, why somebody misused you, mistreated you, when you don't get that closure, that just kind of manifests itself within yourself, because it can lead to a point of being angry and really hurt. So those are the two sides that can come from when a feeling of when you're loved and a feeling of when you had a broken heart. Now, as we get into this now, there's a deeper part of this that I'm going to get into, but for you to understand that where I'm going with this, there's some things I need to kind of get out there right now so you kind of understand and your mind is kind of going along with this. Now, we've talked about what happens, how a person feels when they're in love. We talked about how a person feels when they've been brokenhearted. Now, let's get into what this is really about. Emotions. Basically, we're going to be dealing with emotions now. Okay? Now, emotions can play an important role in how we think and how we behave. You know, the emotions we feel each day, you know, it can compel us to take action and influence the decisions we make about our lives, large and small. Now, in order to truly understand emotions now, it's important to understand that emotions have been broken down into 3 critical components, okay? Now, this is what psychologists are saying, that there are 3 critical components to emotions. And we're going to go over those real quick because it's important that you understand this. Now, the 3 parts of emotion. First, the subjective component. You know, how you experience the emotion. You know, let's consider anger, for example, okay? Is all anger the same? I mean, your own experience might range from mild annoyance to blinding rage, because it really just depends on the situation and the person. So it's subjective. You might find something that's kind of small and kind of get into it, but it might be like for a moment. But then again, something else may just trigger, like a friend can have a situation to where her husband does something and you might be like, oh, that makes me mad that they did that. But when your mate does it, now all of a sudden you're livid. You're ready to burn the house down. You're ready to throw the car in the ocean. You're ready to actually just pull the moon out the sky because you're that outraged. So now that's what we're talking about when we talk about subjective component, how you experience the emotion. Next, we want to talk about the psychological component. Now, this is the second one. The first one was subjective. The second one is the psychological component. And that's how your bodies react to the emotion. Now, if you've ever felt your stomach kind of like turn or kind of alert from anxiety or your heart palpate with fear, then you realize that the emotion also causes a strong psychological reaction. And we all experience this. We all experience a psychological component to our emotions. It's when you walk into a room and you see somebody that you like really attracted to and, your stomach starts to turn, or if somebody is speaking and you really can't stand this person, you're becoming, angry and just like, ugh, you're just disgusted with them. You might get a headache. You might feel your shoulder, start to have a little twitch. You know what I'm saying? Your body is reacting. Okay. You're having a psychological, that's a psychological component because the emotion you're feeling, is really starting to kind of manifest within you. Okay. Next is an expressive component. Now, an expressive component, is how you behave in response to the emotion. Okay. Now, I know you guys understand, but I just want to clarify this with somebody who just jumped in. But don't confuse expressive with psychological. Okay. Don't confuse the two. Okay. Psychological is how your body reacts to the emotion. Expressive component is how you behave in response to the emotion. Now, this final component is perhaps one of the most, one of the ones that we're probably most familiar with. The actual expression of emotions. We spend a significant amount of time, trying to interpret another person's expressions. All the people around us, we do it at work, we do it at a job, we do it at home. Well, work and job, the same thing. We do it at the store. Whenever we talk to somebody, we interact with somebody, we are trying to interpret their emotional expressions, especially when you're saying something or you're trying to find something out. You're really trying to read that person's expressions. And our ability to accurately understand these expressions is tied to what psychologists call emotional intelligence. And these expressions play a major role in our overall body language. If you're talking to somebody and you feel like they're starting to get defensive, one of they say is like this. If a person is getting defensive, they're gonna pull back. If they're sitting up, they're gonna sit back. They're gonna fold their arms. That's a sign of them closing off to you. When a person sits up and leans forward, if you see a person's body sort of kind of relax a little bit, that's more of a person opening up to you. So reading a person's body language, their facial expressions, their hand gestures, the movement of their body. Are they twitching their hands? Is their eyes jumping? What is it, that you can see like, you can tell when somebody make a little smirk when you say something, or you got some good news and you share it with a person and everybody's kind of congratulating you and laughing, and that one person is kind of eye rolling. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You kind of like a nervous condition for some people, and for other people, it's just, they're making facial expression and body movements that you can tell like, okay, either it's a positive body movement or negative body movement. Now, these different elements can play a role in the function and purpose of your emotional responses. Now, keep in mind, emotions can be short-lived. They can be like just a quick annoyance at a coworker. and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm annoyed with you. I'm not going to think about it anymore. Or it could be a long lasting, okay, enduring sadness over the loss of a relationship. But why? Why exactly do we experience emotions? What role do they serve? Now, this brings me into another part of this conversation. Because when we talk about relationships and we talk about love and can it make you deadly or can it make you, feel supported, empowered, it reminds me of some of the things that we have seen over the years, even most recent years. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there are so many murder for hire plots in relationships. And, me, myself, I can't understand why you just don't leave, but I know there's different factors in every situation. But when we talk about, Keisha Leanne Wright, who, wanted to pay to have her husband killed, Annie Fathia Davis, who allegedly, poisoned her husband with spaghetti, couldn't get the dosage right, and then sought out to hire somebody to come and shoot her husband. Then you had Kirsten Nicole Evans, who tried to have her husband killed. And I think everybody is familiar with Dalia Delapio, who actually was caught on video talking to an undercover cop about she was 5,000% that she wanted to have her husband killed. And then the story changed to, she just wanted to be on reality TV and her husband was a part of it and they just wanted to do it. So, but that's a whole nother show right there in itself. Then you got Christopher Tapia. He paid to have somebody rough his wife up, and then wanted some young guys to get involved. Next was Officer Valerie Sincilli. Now, she wanted her estranged husband killed, and she was plotting this with her boyfriend, and she wanted her boyfriend's daughter killed. Emotions can be a very dangerous thing. And it's really hard to understand what sets a person into the mode that they just want to kill the person that they're married to, that they're in a relationship with. Now, I understand some people say, well, there probably was beating. In each of the cases that I mentioned, there wasn't any physical abuse noted or recorded or reported. It was just simply the woman or the man wanted out of the relationship. And it's just kind of crazy that you would go to that extent, just to get out of a relationship. It just shows how powerful the emotions are of a person when it's driven. Emotions wrongfully driven can be powerful. And we're going to talk about that a lot more action when we come back right after this break, right here on the Simply Straight Talk Show.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, we all know that Atlanta, Georgia is a big city, and sometimes you might need just a little bit of help. But you know what? That's why we have Legs Concierge Services. Are you looking for someone to help you with errands, event planning, dog walking, organizing, shopping, or maybe you're in need of a personal assistant? Then you need to contact Legs Concierge Services, operating in Atlanta, Georgia. For more information on these and additional services, contact rarmstrong105@gmail.com. That's rarmstrong105@gmail.com. Remember, time is precious, so let Legs Concierge Services help you enjoy it so much better.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to today's show. Now today we're talking about love, how it can make you powerful or deadly. We also talked about some good aspects of love. We also talked about some of the negative factors that can result from a broken heart. Early in the show, we talked about the 3 components: the subjective component, the psychological component, and the expressive component. Then I also gave you a little insight on a couple cases to where people have actually, out of emotions, hired someone to go and kill their ex or their ex and a child. Now, this is a delicate thing because, what makes a person emotionally erratical, emotionally just lose it? And I think it can come from cheating. One person went out of the relationship, the other person don't want to let go. It could be a mental disorder. Some people will do it for the insurance money. And for some people, there is one person who actually said that they thought killing their husband was an easy way out versus going through a divorce. Now, when we talk about emotions and love, when a person gets their heart broken, that's like something I don't think people really respect the fact of how dangerous it can be to play with somebody's heart, to play with somebody's emotion like that, to where when someone is all into you and they really want you to feel, that they love you and they're there for you, then for you to betray that, whether it be a man or woman who does the betraying. I'm not going to get into which gender does it, is the worst at it, because honestly, I think men and women are horrible at, sometimes being able to love somebody the right way and not leading somebody down a path to where they become emotionally distraught or feel emotionally, obligated to seek out revenge because they don't have that closure. They don't understand. They're so hurt that they can't move past it. And I think men and women are bad about that. So I don't care about the percentage. The fact is, we need to come up with a resolution of how to deal with that and not just pass the blame on this gender or that gender. So it's tough because everybody responds to, being hurt in different ways. Everybody, some people can take a breakup and move on. Some people know how to control their emotions. Other people, they don't really understand it. And sometimes when somebody is hurt from love, it can have a long lasting effect because it'll take place with the next person, the person after that, and if they experience the same negative effect from love from 2 or 3 people, they're going to pass that on because eventually they're going to say, what? This is how love's supposed to be. It's supposed to be uncaring, unloving, get what you want and move on. And that's sort of mentality that we have today. You have many men and women with the attitude of, what? I don't want to get married. We can possibly live together, but we're not going to tie anything together. What can you do for me? And that's the attitude now. So how can we navigate our behaviors? How can we work with our emotions? What can we do about us to help start the process for making things better? And one of the things I think that many of us need to do, and this, these are some things that I've had to do in my life, is understand your emotional state. When you're angry, sad, or depressed, even if you start a journal, you do something on your computer, but keep track of your thoughts. Do you think of doing harm to someone else or yourself? Do you become easily outraged, angry, or, aggressive, verbally or physically? Don't be afraid to go and talk to a counselor. Get professional counseling. You know what I'm saying? Just because sometimes there might be things that happened in your past, things you might be dealing with. You might have things going on in your life that's emotionally affecting you. It could be from the job, and you could be bringing that home and don't realize it. Because there are things that affect us in the outside world that sometimes we bring home and we shouldn't. And there are things sometimes at home that we take to the job. So being able to have somebody to talk to professionally that's unbiased, that's going to listen and help you to kind of dig into that is really important. Next, learn what triggers you. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn what triggers you. What changes your mood? If a certain person walks in a room, does it change your mood? If you hear similar words, behaviors, or actions that impacted you negatively from your past, does it change your mood? You know, if you dated a guy that used to say stuff like, well, you know what? I'm always good at math, so I can always deal with the financial aspects of home. Maybe you dated a person like that and they were horrible with the home finances. It put you in debt. You know what I'm saying? They totally messed up your financial situation. So you meet somebody else who said, yeah, I'm pretty good with math. I don't mind doing the accounting for our home. Initially, that might trigger a light bulb in you. Like, I've heard that book before. Okay. So learn what triggers you, what behaviors, what words, what actions a person might do. If they sit a certain way, you know, if you dated somebody that was a drinker and you felt they drunk too much, and now you meet somebody, they start to have a few drinks. You know, do you get concerned like, okay, this is an alcoholic, this person a drinker? Learn what triggers your moods and your emotions, okay? You got to understand that. Next, communicate your feelings. This is so important. Communicate your feelings and consider engaging in a communication course to help you communicate more effectively. Some people think just because they say something, the other person should understand it. But your tone and delivery can be a problem. Do you know if your friend or partner is a thinker that prefers to coordinate their thoughts for a few seconds before they speak? See, this is all a part of the communication skill training, because I hear so many people say, well, I'm going to say what's on my mind and I'm going to speak it. But yeah, if you're saying something in a certain way, the other person may tune you out. They may listen in the first few seconds. If you kind of like got an attitude and, you know, being snappish and using vulgar language, it's like, I want to listen to you and work this out. But right now, I don't like the way you talking to me. So you know what? Boom, I'm zoning out on you. Say whatever, or I'm walking away. And you're standing there, and the first thing, and here's my thing. This is the first thing people say when they don't know how to communicate and the other person shuts the communication down. You never want to talk. You always walk away. That's because you might need to check your communication style. You might need to understand how your delivery is coming out. If you're not communicating properly, nobody wants to be yelled at or talked down to. Because oftentimes somebody's going to shut down, because if they do it to you, eventually you're going to shut down. So those are the things you need to consider. And taking a communication course can really help you. You can take communication courses on relationships or just basic communication courses to kind of help you understand how to interpret the way you communicate and how your partner communicates. I'm the type of person that when somebody asks me a question, you know, if it's something, you know, sometimes I need to think for a few seconds. Okay, let me see. Let me reflect how I'm going to put this together. Because I'm always thinking in my head. It doesn't mean I'm plotting a lie or coming up with a lie. And it only takes me like maybe 10 to 20 seconds to kind of think, or maybe 30 seconds. Let's say 30 seconds, you know, to kind of put it together, because I'm always processing things. Whereas some people just spread out anything. So kind of be mindful of that. It's not always the person that's cheating or trying to find some way to lie or get over. Next, recognize what's hurting you and how you are hurting others. What some people see as love is not love. What some people see as commitment is not commitment. Fighting, controlling, and verbal abuse is not love. Forcing someone to stay and accept your negative and harmful behavior is not commitment. And I think a lot of people want to justify their bad actions and bad behaviors by having the other person stay and accept it, because they feel, I did it. I said I was sorry. I might do it again, but it's okay if you stay, because that shows I'm committed to you. I don't understand that logic. I don't understand how it works. That is the most craziest buffoonery I've ever heard in my life. Everybody, you need to recognize within yourself what's hurting you, okay? What is it inside you that's hurting you? What are you dealing with, possibly from your past, that's having a negative effect on you? And how are you passing that on to other people? So you need to deal with that, because sometimes we deal with things internally that we don't really share with our friends or with our mates or partners. So you need to be able to deal with that. You got to recognize that, hey, you know what? I have an issue with this part of my life. And I see that it's coming out in my relationship. I need to work on this. And recognize how you are hurting other people. What are things you're saying, your actions, your behaviors? You know when you say something and the other person doesn't laugh or they kind of look down. Some people think when they get at a party and around a group of friends that they can make the corny or some of the stupidest or maybe actually insulting jokes about their mate. And their mate is supposed to laugh because it's funny, because the group is funny. The group thinks it's funny. Understand how you're hurting somebody else, because you're creating an emotional roller coaster that eventually you may end up in a situation to where this person may feel like, I can't deal with this. I want more than divorce. I want you to suffer because I'm suffering. And if I'm suffering, you're gonna suffer. You have to understand how to deal with emotions. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the final thoughts on today's show. Love can make you powerful or it can make you dead.
You're listening to Simply Straight Talk.
RM Viaging is a company based on life's journey and sharing life lessons with the world in the form of laughter and reflection, inspiring people to go after their dreams and not giving up on life. RM Viaging creates inspirational music and motivational speeches designed to motivate all age groups. Visit our website at www.rmviaging.com to hear samples of our music. You will also find motivational articles on our blog page titled New Life, New Mind blog. We also have a weekly podcast hosted by Reggie called Simply Straight Talk, all on our website at www.rmviaging.com.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the show. Man, I really hope you enjoyed this conversation. Listen, today we talked about love can make you powerful or deadly. And we really spoke on the emotions that go behind being in love, being in a relationship. And I wish it was as easy as just being able to say, everybody, respect another person. If you don't want to be with them, don't even move towards that direction. If you're not serious about loving somebody, then don't step into their life like that. Unfortunately, we know everybody is not going to be able to follow those rules, follow those guidelines. If you understand what it means that when you truly hurt someone, if you really understand how emotions can become very dangerous, how emotions can be, basically how emotions are not to be played with. You should not toy with another person's emotions. No matter what you think you're going to get out of it, no matter what you think you're going to accomplish, whether even if you're trying to be, vengeful because of somebody in the past, you can create a monster that this world cannot control. Most of all, you might create a monster that come after you. And you don't want to create that. Because I personally believe that when you hurt somebody, when you play with somebody's emotions, you're creating a chain of effects that's going to hurt so many other people. And it's going to continue down the line, down the line, down the line. At some point, some people can find somebody that can kind of bring them back, and I call it pull them back in from that dark road that they're going down with their emotions. And in some cases, a person can't be pulled back. And it may end up in that person being put in jail. It may end up with that person doing something that's going to get them killed. Do you really want that on your hand? I mean, think about it. When you kill somebody physically, you know what I'm saying? Some people deal with the guilt of that. But that same guilt that a person feels when they take another person's life physically, you should feel that same guilt when you take another person's life emotionally, when you kill their dreams, when you kill their faith or belief in love. you have just committed murder, because that person could have contributed something great to this world and it was taken away because you wanted to be selfish. You wanted to make a bad decision and you couldn't respect the fact that you should not play with another person's heart. You should not play with another person's emotions. It is so unfortunate that many of us are going to experience heartbreak. We're going to experience betrayal. We're going to experience people that we have invested in and supported, that we want to see them mature and grow and just accomplish so much in life. And we're going to give so much of ourselves. And in the end, we may feel like that's been taken away, that it was robbed, it was stolen from us. But we have to look on the other side, that evaluate who we bring into our life, who we give our time and our resources to. Don't let our emotions of being happy, of living a good life, being stolen by one person. There is real love in this world. There is real hope in this world. Don't let anybody kill that inside you. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot meet somebody that's going to love you. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not going to find the right person, that you're not going to have that job, you're not going to have that career. But you only can have that if you don't let them kill you emotionally or let your emotions take control, that you make poor, dramatic, and drastic decisions that can alter the path of your life. Hey, thank you for tuning in, man. I hope y'all really enjoyed this. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate all the love and support. Y'all keep tuning in and stay with us right here on the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your man, Reggie, and I will see you all next Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Straight Talk Show with Reggie Maddox. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our podcast to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. Be sure to check out our archive section on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, and YouTube. Join us next time for another edition of the Simply Straight Talk Show.